the day of salvation. If you hear the word of God, do not harden your hearts. Anyone who calls on...
Thank you very much, Mr. Journalist. Ntang Julius is a philanthropist by passion and a hotelier by profession. So I'm actually the co-founder and the executive secretary of Unity Foundation, a non-governmental organization that seeks to transform the society through humanitarian service, agriculture, education, peace and democracy, and then sports and culture. So I'm a certified youth envoy for peace and democracy by the Ministry of Youth Affairs and the Network for Solidarity, Empowerment and Transformation for All, in collaboration with the National Endowment for Democracy, United States of America. We are actually doing everything possible to see that the society is transformed through social activities and philanthropy. So that's why I started by telling you that I'm a philanthropist by passion. So all what I've cited actually concerns philanthropy. So we do a lot concerning peace and democracy. I earlier told you that I'm a certified youth envoy for peace and democracy by NUSETA, Ministry of Youth Affairs and National Endowment for Democracy, United States of America. In 2013, we were actually the pioneer trainees of the Rebuilding Peace Through Actions and Inclusive Reach, a program of the Network for Solidarity, Transformation for All. This program was actually based to train youths in peace building, to actually go back to their societies and talk about peace to the youths, to our mothers, to our fathers, then later, and then try to see how democracy can actually be implemented practically in Cameroon. So basically, that's what it's all about.
Okay, that with many caps as we've heard. Now we wish to touch on this note. You are a philanthropist. What pushes you into such an action? The time when everyone seeks to build his own empire, seeks to fall bush and then come back and maybe ride in very expensive, luxurious cars. What pushes you into this?
Actually, I love when people ask me such questions. Philanthropy is actually a profession. As I told you, it's a passion. It's not a profession, it's a passion.
Okay.
And this passion is only held by those who actually want to transform the society. Even if you want to build yourself and become the richest person on earth, if you cannot change somebody's life, you have not done anything to yourself. So you are the person you are only when you have changed somebody's life. Because the society, you cannot move alone, you must move with people. So moving with people means you have to do philanthropy, you have to do charity. So even if you are the richest person on earth, if you don't turn back to look at those who are underprivileged to help them also reach where they are, so you will be nowhere to be found. So I admire this, my mentor, Professor Willy Brozengwa. He runs a network called the African Network Against Illiteracy, Conflicts and Human Rights Abuse. The slogan speaks to us that invest in others, help make them get better. So his message is clear. So if you invest in human beings, all the other things will come. So if you invest in yourself and you forget to invest in others, you hardly get the other things. So if you invest simply in human beings, the other things will come automatically to the society and to you.
Okay, one thing I have noticed is that you love your area so much. You can't talk in a place without mentioning a place where you come from. What makes you love your home this much the time when people like to be called maybe identified with towns, to identify with towns, particular areas where they are found. Maybe someone should be said, or someone should say, I was born in the capital city of Cameroon. Yaoundé. I was born in Boya, Bamenda. But you like to talk about your home. Boom. What is it that drives you crazy when you hear about your village?
Actually, when you say my home, I would love to underline that statement, my home. There's nothing good as home. If you don't know where you are coming from, you still don't know where you are going to. To better know where you are going to, you must try to know where you are coming from. Because it's where you are coming from that you actually strategize to see how you have to move ahead. I'm somebody that that people at times call me the traditional person. Even when we are in the university,
that's what they call you chief. Are you a chief?
Actually, that's a nickname that was attributed to me when we were in high school in Fundong. So coincidentally, when we came down here in Yaoundé for university studies, I had a friend who was actually my benchmate in level 1. This friend, the way I dressed, she called me Chief. The very day she used the name Chief, all of my classmates have been calling me Chief. I said, do you know that name you're calling me with? I already hold the name. They gave me that particular name in GBHS Fundong when we were in high school. So she was just surprised. So, and the name, I love the name because I'm from a royal family as well. Being from a royal family doesn't define my attachment to my homeland. My attachment to my homeland is actually due to the fact that you cannot forget where you're coming to, because where you're coming to actually defines the type of person you are. So I just want to be myself. I just want to define myself by where I'm coming from, because if I start changing my village, my community, my division, my region, my country, in fact beyond the world, I would better do that without any problem.
When you sit now, what is it that comes to your mind? If you're going back to Boom today, what is it you're going to change?
Well, I'm not just going back to Boom. I would love to just give you some details about me. I have a double background. Yes, my father is from Com and my mother is from Boom. It happened that my father was a businessman. He used to go to Nigeria, buy kitchen utensils, come and sell in Konene. So he's actually one of the oldest business person Konene has ever witnessed. So he decided to settle in Konene. Since business was flowing in Konene, he decided to settle in Konene, precisely in Boom. So he met my mother there. He met my mother in Konene. So my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, actually attributed a piece of land to my dad far back in the 60s. So he actually settled in Konene, and it happened that his family, that's the Jew family, they needed somebody because they had a fund. The fund passed away, so they needed somebody to sit on this throne. So the family put in Boom and in Com stumbled on this gentleman, that's Ntang Julius, and then that he was the right person. So since he was already permanently settled in Konene, which is in Boom, they could not take him to any other place again. So they decided just to make him fun in Boom. So that's why people even confuse at times that why is it that a Com man should be a fun in Boom. So it's not a matter of Com or Boom or whatsoever. Jul is a family that is settled all over Northwest region and predominantly in Com and in Boom. So it happened that he was to be enthroned fun, so he was settled in Boom. That's why he's fun in Boom, and that was done in collaboration with the Fun of Boom. And the Fun of Boom actually confirmed that he will be made fun in Boom, and he decided to give this area where he is now, Konene and Gunabu, where he will rule over the people and then decide over many traditional issues in this area.
One day you are taking us to the Fundum.
I can take you to the Fundum, but not in the other way, because people used to say it seems as if I am a potential successor to my father, but with the succession rights, it's not like that in the family. So actually, succession in the family is matrilineal, and a son will seldom succeed the father.
Okay.
So it will hardly happen in the family.
Thank you so very much. Now let's come to talk about entrepreneurship. I want to discover, or we want to discover as youth in Cameroon. People have been talking about this so much, but little has been done. But I want to say that for the past days I've seen you an active entrepreneur. And I think that your knowledge will get to help someone who has been thinking about this, how to go about it. Your experience will help someone. So tell us about this.
Actually, every society is built with the spirit of entrepreneurship. Every society that thinks that can really survive, that can really emerge without entrepreneurs, that society still needs to start thinking. They still need to start thinking. So actually, it happens that I love entrepreneurship, which is actually what has really gets me going. Far back when I just graduated from, even when I was still in primary school, we used to sell firewood. Little did I know that was building myself to become an entrepreneur one day in life. So we used to sell firewood. We fetch 10 bundles of firewood and sell for 25 francs. So when I enrolled into high school, I didn't really leave this out. I used to go to the coast. When coming back, I would buy some few things, come and sell to children in the village. When we came down in Yaoundé to the university, the only option that could permit me continue my studies was entrepreneurship, because my parents were not really upright financially to sponsor my education in the university. So what I did, I had to start doing hawking. Even then, I didn't know that was entrepreneurship. So I really engaged in that. So I engaged in hawking. After hawking, I succeeded to go through my university studies with the help of hawking textile products like bed sheets, dresses. From there, when I graduated from the university, I had to look for an alternative, how I could still move on, because education from the university here, in particular university on the one, it wasn't professional. So I needed something that could fetch me a job. So that's where I started looking left and right. I had to stumble in one professional school where I did hotel management and tourism. So from there, I've been doing so many things. So I've been designing business plans and even selling to people. I've been helping people to develop businesses. And I in particular, I've been engaged as a freelance businessman. Yes, and I think it's a way forward. No matter what I do, I think business is what can really take you to your dream place. Because if you have a project to fulfill and you're working with the government, normally an average civil servant in Cameroon earns 250,000 francs. And if you earn 250,000 francs in Cameroon and you have to live for 60 years, within the 60 years, and you are lucky to have a job at 30, which means you have to work for 30 years with the government. So if you take 60,000 francs and you multiply 250,000 francs and multiply it by the number of years that you have to live, you see that you cannot really carry out any project that costs 1 million, that costs 100 million or 50 million, with all the expenses of living in Yaoundé and whatsoever. So business, entrepreneurship is actually a way forward. And entrepreneurship does not only mean selling, buying and selling. So you can engage in other businesses like contract. You can construct houses and give out for rent. So it doesn't only mean buying and selling. So it's a whole concept that can really transform the society. So that's why I love it.
Okay, develop communities who go into the aspect of knowledge sharing, and that's why we go on YouTube. We just download tutorials, we learn about things people have done. I would like you to look into this camera right now. Maybe give some of the secrets you think a Cameroonian youth who is roaming the streets out there, if he applies his life is going to change? Count it from your story.
Well, from my story, I can't. When people see me as a successful person, I find it difficult to believe with them because I still have so many things on my mind, in me, that I think if I don't fulfill, I will still be running. I will still be running short of what I'm supposed to do in life. So, Cameroonian youths have a very simple problem, and the problem has been diagnosed. It needs just solutions now, and the solutions is very difficult to come from the youths. This is the problem. The problem with Cameroonian youths is that they know only one way, and that one way is the civil service. They know that even when you see I have graduates in the house, and the only thing they know is to write a competitive entrance examination into a professional school. They don't know any other thing again. So it's very dangerous in the 21st century to see a high school graduate without any knowledge. What he knows about his career is only writing a competitive entrance examination. So that is the serious problem that Cameroonian youth really has on now, that is really putting them back from getting to their dream life. So, and as the problem has been diagnosed already, that they have a one-way success in life, and the solution now is very difficult for the solution to come from them. Why? Because if there is no enabling environment for them to put for what some of them will put into practice, because at that we see Cameroonians who are really excelling in the field of entrepreneurship, but you hardly see the government coming out to encourage them, either financially or even enact policies that would actually make them grow in their various fields. Recently, we saw a Cameroonian who has invented a device that tests heart diseases, and few hospitals in Cameroon are using that device. He's selling the device. They use the device everywhere in Germany, but the Cameroon government, they have promised the guy so many things, but they have fulfilled very little. So the problem with the youths is simple. They have a one way, and it has been diagnosed, and to have a solution for it, the government must stand in front of it, because there must be an enabling environment, and the government must accompany its citizens, because that is the duty of the government, and they must do that. And if they don't do, you keep blaming the youths, whereas the government really has that blame to carry, because the youth has its own blame. But if the government was doing what it was supposed to do, the youth would have been blamed without any
let's look
problem.
At it from this angle. Consider that the government has not been doing what it has to do. What is it that the youth have to do which they are not doing?
The youth simply needs to be guided how to think from the base. Because before becoming a youth, because in Cameroon a youth is defined as somebody who is between the age of 18 and 35. That's how the Cameroon Constitution defines the youth. Before reaching the age of 18, you might have passed through the age of 10. So which means you are guided on how to think at the age of 18, at the age of 20. So if you are not guided to think independently at the age of 20, it will be very difficult for you to think at that age. So, and you yourself, you are not responsible for guiding yourself to think like that. Your parents are responsible, and the government is responsible. And the government has a simple role to play, enact policies that will guide your parents, teach you how to think independently at the age of 18, at the age of 20. So if that is not done at the basic level, then I find it very difficult at times laying the blame on youth. I only blame the youth on this issue. They think the old people have to give way, which is not good. The old people have their own role to play in the society. You cannot wipe away the old people. They must exist, so they cannot go away. Because even if there are so many youths. Yesterday I was talking with a friend. He had employed one of the youths on probation. So the youth had to, the lady had to go on probation to go through probation for 3 months. So after the 3 months, he found that the lady was not capable